All right, you guys, who does not love a take two? I'm your community manager, Jana, and this is October live Q&A. I am now going to make sure that we actually have sound. I think the last 20 minutes that I did had zero sound, which is, oh, there we go. We do have some sound on this one. It's nothing worse than talking to yourself and realizing that nothing got recorded. So here we are, take two. It is October 15th, Wednesday. It's halfway through October. And while we didn't have any questions posted on our Q&A, you guys are doing an amazing job of posting your questions and getting your answers from either the community or the experts that are inside of our boot camp. I just want to remind you that we do have advisors who are part of our boot camp. Recently, if you've seen the posts about questions for virtual, we also have our virtual lead from Bootcamp, Lindsay, who did our October live with me last week, is part of our membership. So when you guys have those pressing questions and you don't feel like you're going to be able to get through to customer service, or there's something specific about the curriculum, get those questions posted, because like myself, the advisors, Lindsay, we're all homeschool parents. We use the product, we understand the product, and we love getting those questions answered for you right away. I know that when you're asking those questions, it's because those questions are pertinent to what you are doing in that moment, and there's nothing worse than having to wait for a reply. Again, if you want to tag me to make sure that I see it right away, that would be helpful to get that answer timely. But if you just want to get it out there and put it up, I'm really excited to see the interaction that we're having here and this year's boot camp. I love to be a part of it. I'm so glad that you all are here. I would kind of take a poll to see where everybody's at is week-wise. If you started around or after Labor Day, you should be or would be around maybe week 6. If you started in the summer, obviously, I have no idea what week you'd possibly be on. And I do know that some of you are still waiting for your boxes to show up. We're adding to our group daily. That still just blows my mind, and I feel so privileged to be a part of this community where we can support each other in our endeavor to homeschool our children and all be using BookShark, even though we use different levels. We are in the middle of October. I cannot believe that the holidays are gonna be here before we know it. And you might start just be in that space where you're comfortable with what you're doing. You've got a rhythm, you've got a routine. Sarah did a great job of creating some block schedules for us, or a daily task calendar that we put in the files. If you didn't get a chance to watch September's live with Sarah from Herculean Homeschool, she did a great job just talking about how to prioritize and how to get things done so that you're not falling asleep at night thinking about the things that you didn't do or how you could do things better. So if you haven't had a chance, make sure that you watch Sarah's live from September. And then last week we had Lindsay Lewis talking about making homeschool an adventure. As you start to get comfortable using the curriculum and understanding the day-to-day and the methodologies in our instructor's guides, well, we might have two camps: those who feel comfortable and those who are still not comfortable. Back in the beginning of boot camp, back in July, I said put a sticky note on the section 4 so that you could go back and read it once you've started to get familiar with the rhythm of BookShark. So if you haven't done that yet, I encourage you once again just to take a few moments, flip in the back of your instructor's guide and kind of read through exactly how we work through the material, what BookShark's methodologies are, why we do what we do. There's been so many questions about mapping, which I find exciting because I myself, growing up, the only exposure I really had to geography was that game, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? For those of you who are my age, you may have remembered it. I do believe they ended up making a show later on, a cartoon about it. We used to play the game, and we literally had like a kind of like a dictionary that we had to flip through to find the information. But BookShark does a great job of providing a geography program within our history. So if you're not utilizing that, no pressure, no judgment. I wasn't great about that with my kids either, but it is there. It's a great way to really familiarize your children and maybe yourself with the world, the different places outside of the United States, maybe just in the United States itself. For the lower levels, you have that big markable map. There's been so many questions about that, and that part excites me because I'm excited that people are utilizing that aspect of the curriculum because it was something I was not super strong in. So if you get a chance to look back at the thread, we did have a bootcamp member give us some really good tips on how she is using geography with her older students and incorporating some more modern ways of using Google Maps and sharing documents with her kids. And I've really enjoyed reading her posts. I hope you get a chance to look at that and see if maybe that's something that you can do as well. As we work through our curriculum and we find things that work for us, or we find better ways to implement the things that work for us, I'd love for you guys to share that with our community. Those are the types of tips and tricks that build a community and help us do better at what we're doing. We're choosing to homeschool, whether you are new to the homeschool world or you're just new to BookShark. Everything can be improved upon. There is not one thing in this world that I don't think cannot be improved upon. And that includes how we implement our day-to-day with our homeschool using BookShark. So if you find different ways that you worked out for your family, please share them with the community. There was talk about audiobooks. I'm a huge advocate for audiobooks for so many reasons. And, there's different ways that you can access audiobooks so you don't have to pay for memberships. There are Libby and Overdrive and Hoopla are the three that I can think of off the top of my head that we've used in my family. The library is an amazing resource for homeschool families. So many things are at our fingertips at the library. I do just want to talk about this concept of October flats. It is a real thing. Found out about it last year or the year before. And it's this middle of October. The seasons are starting to change. You're kind of like in this, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, depending on where in the region or where in the world you are. And you can't do the same things that you were doing even just a month or two ago outside, but you also aren't ready to like hunker down and be inside all the time. So this idea of getting into a routine, which for some, that is what you crave. You need that routine. You really enjoy that routine. Others, it feels like the road is endless and it's just flat and we're not having any excitement. There's no highs, there's no lows. So just want to encourage you. There's a few ways for you to be able to really help yourself in this time. You're familiar with the curriculum. You're starting to get a rhythm. Just kind of tally up the wins, daily wins, weekly wins, whatever those wins look like for you. Whether it was your child getting something done with only being asked 5 times, whether you guys started your curriculum or your day on time, whether you got to an activity on time, all of those things are little wins. And I feel like we have a tendency to not focus on the wins. We focus on the losses, and nobody wants to go through life thinking about the ways that they are falling short or feeling inadequate. So be intentional to tally up your wins either daily or weekly. Maybe mark it in your instructor's guide so that you can see, oh yeah, we did win in this area. We are seeing progress. Again, progress over perfection. You're starting something new. You're asking your kids to do something new. It takes a while. And while things may feel like rote and mundane as you get into it, because you're just following the prescribed curricula, you will start to get comfortable. And I want to encourage you, just like Lindsay said last week in our Making Learning an Adventure, implement small little things that your kids are excited about, or just what you're excited about as you're learning alongside your children, because the beauty of homeschool is you are learning alongside your kids and they're seeing your excitement and they're going to feed off of that excitement. So whether it's a recipe or a game or a documentary or even just a book, a fun little silly song, there are so many things that you can just stop in the moment, quickly Google or chat GPT or whatever generation you are, whatever word you're going to use for that, and look up something that applies to or is related to what you're learning so that you show your kids, like, you're not just doing public school at home. You're not just getting through the material so that you can get on to the next day so you can get through the material. You're learning. You're creating curiosity. You're demonstrating for them what it looks like to connect the learning with the real life in those things, and showing them that it's not just a story about a long time ago. It is actually a culture that may or may not still be around find, the videos that show you like if this culture is still around, the things that they have modernized or not modernized, how that compares and contrasts to the way that we have modernized in our country. There's just so many things. I think part of learning is just making that connection with the real world. And so there's just simple ways to do that. BookShark obviously can't go into all of the ways and give you all of the things. And you know your kids, you know yourself, what's going to get you excited, that's going to help your kids get excited about the things that you're learning. It's small little things. It doesn't have to be monumental. It doesn't have to take a whole lot of time. It doesn't have to take a whole lot of money. It is small little things. And let's say you find a recipe and you don't have the things. Okay, well then maybe you can get excited when you do go grocery shopping to add those things. Or you can, again, use the Google and find ways to supplement for things that you do have. There are great ways to put in like, help me figure out a recipe for Pioneer cookies, and then you put in the ingredients that you have and voila. I mean, there are amazing technologies out there that can help you really make learning fun and adventurous. So if you didn't get a chance to watch Lindsay's we did last week, sorry, October Live. I was trying to think, like, what did we call that? The October Live. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you just to make small changes. At the end of that live, Lindsay gave you some really good ideas on how to make little changes to bring some adventure into your homeschool. I really am excited for you guys. I'm excited to hear the little things that you're doing. They're adding these curiosity little kind of rabbit trails that you're going down with your kids. For those of you who are like, yes, that's my thing, please encourage those of us who that's kind of makes us nervous and anxious. Like we don't want to get too far away from the prescribed material because we do want to check the boxes as we go through the week. You can be both those extremes and still add adventure. Playing games. We were introduced to a game recently by Tanya. She's one of the advisors. We're friends. Our families are friends. We actually played the marble game, a great game. I'd never heard of it before. Played it. We actually played a variation that her daughter-in-law's family kind of invented. And it was super fun. I made sure that we went and bought it, and we actually took it and introduced it to our friends when we went and saw them. So there's counting, there's collaboration, there is critical thinking. I mean, you think it's like this simple marble game. I would say it's a combination of like Sorry and Trouble, if you're familiar with those board games. But it's just a way to really show your kids that you can have fun. It's still everything is an education, you guys. Every single thing that you do is educational. You just have to frame it in a way for yourself and for your kids that shows that they're learning. So I don't want to ramble on too much more, but I do get excited about the change of seasons. And even though we could get into this October flats, I would love to hear how you guys are implementing different ways that you are bringing adventure into your homeschool. So I'm going to post and ask for you guys to share those things for us because maybe it's something that another family hasn't even thought about doing. And if you guys are doing it and doing it well, then you can share that and help somebody else find something to be excited about as well. I will be on next week for Real Life and Homeschool, talk about some more things. I'm going to implement some how to get it all done type of conversation, at least what works for me and how I get some of those things done. Keep posting your questions. We love to get them answered for you. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.